Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making banana custard cake. Now, not my recipe, but the talented, the beautiful Emma Fontanella from Rome.
Hello you guys, who doesn't love a good banana bread?
I love Rome. Never been. Maybe someday. Walk the streets of Rome, or Italy, or all of it. That'd be nice. Drinking coffee, enjoying spaghetti, and pasta, and pizza, and banana custard cake. In all seriousness, today I will be recreating one of Emma's cakes. Her channel is called Emma's Goodies. It's awesome. She's actually a professional baker in Rome. She makes these awesome cakes, so I am like up for a challenge, I feel, because she's a professional baker. Clearly I'm not. I'm just self-taught from home in my kitchen since I was a little girl with my mom. I'm gonna make sure to link all of her social medias in my description. So make sure you go check out her channel. She's pretty awesome. She's a baker. So if you like sweets like me, check her out. Subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel too. Comment, like, hit the bell so you're notified every time I post. Let's get on with the recipe. Let's see what Emma's doing. Let's see if I can recreate this cake because it looks quite challenging, but I like custard and I like bananas. So I hope you do too. So let's try to make this cake exactly like Emma did. To start off this recipe, I will be working on my custard first, so I added my cornstarch, my salt, and my sugar to a saucepan. I gave it a quick mix just to make sure everything was combined. I didn't want any clumps in my cornstarch, so just make sure you give it a quick whisk. Once it is whisked and everything's combined, I added about a third of my milk, like Emma said, and I whisked that up also so it was nicely combined. I really like that she recommends doing this all in one step. And then I added the rest of my milk, gave that another good whisk, and once that was done, I set it aside, and then I cracked my 2 eggs in a separate bowl. Gave those a quick whisk with my whisk that I just whisked my milk with. Once the eggs were scrambled, I went ahead and added them to the milk mixture and gave them another good mix just so everything was nicely combined. And then I went to my stovetop and put this on medium-low heat, and I whisked this mixture constantly. You do not want to walk away from it. I really like that Emma suggests that you do this all in one step. So instead of having to worry about tempering your eggs and all that other good stuff and scrambling your eggs, you're just doing it in one shot and it should just work out really nicely. I had like the best of luck doing it, and I also didn't walk away from my mixture. I just made sure to stay right next to it, stirring constantly. I didn't want it to burn on the bottom, so if you kind of walk away from it, you risk it burning, and it really does come together beautifully. Once it simmers, you'll see that the cornstarch hardens or thickens the mixture, and then you can take it off the heat. Once it looks something like this, it looks so beautiful and so delicious. So once it's at this stage, take it off the heat. I went ahead and added my good vanilla, so make sure you're using good vanilla because that's like the only flavor, and I gave that a good mix. And then you're going to want to add it to another bowl so it cools off completely, and you're going to pop it in the fridge. So I chose to do this step first just so my custard had time to cool completely after I baked my cake. The custard does need to be fully cooled before you put it on top of the cake, so make sure you scrape your saucepan out of everything, all the last drops of custard. But if you have extra left on your spoon like this, don't judge me, don't judge. Chef's treat. So good. Of course, I washed my utensils. I don't put them back in the food. That would be gross. So I went ahead and covered my custard with plastic wrap. Make sure the plastic wrap is actually touching the custard. You don't want it to sit like over it. You want it directly on top of it. And I just popped it in the fridge, and I did stir it like every so often just so it would cool completely. While the custard cools in the refrigerator, I went ahead and started preheating my oven to 320 degrees, but honestly, I should have probably put it at 325 or 330. Then in a large bowl, I added my egg whites, my cream of tartar, and I just beat this until it was a beautiful fluffy white cloud. I think Emma used lemon juice instead of tartar, but use what you have. And then I gradually added my sugar, and I continue to beat this mixture. I think I actually overbeat this. I don't think Emma's was quite as beat as mine, so I just went ahead, kept beating it until basically the sugar was kind of like dissolved in it, and I ran out of sugar. So once that was nicely combined and beautiful and stiff peaks, mine was probably a little bit over stiff peaks. I mean, look at that beautiful cloud of whiteness. Make sure you take out all of that and leave it in the bowl because You want your cake to be nice and fluffy. Then to a large bowl, I added my 2 egg yolks and my milk. I added my banana that I actually blended until it was nice and like pureed. Emma recommends this so you don't get any brown or green spots, and mine actually turned a little brown on the top because I did this step like way too early. I added my vanilla and I gave this like a really good mix so everything was combined. I didn't want to risk any like green chunks in my cake from the bananas. Listen, I'm trying to avoid that. And then in another large bowl, well, not that large, I just added my flour, my salt, and my baking powder, gave it a quick whisk, and then I just added it to my egg yolks, and I just used my electric mixer and just mixed it until it was combined. You don't want to overdo this step because you don't want like a tough cake or anything like that. You don't want to activate the gluten. And then once it was like mostly combined, I went ahead and I scraped the sides because I didn't want any bits of dry flour. So scrape the sides, clean your bowl, make sure it looks nice and beautiful. Now I know it doesn't look like there is a lot of batter, but remember we do have those egg whites that we beat earlier that we do still need to add to this. So after you have scraped everything down, I went ahead and prepped my 9x9 baking dish with some cooking spray, and then I added my parchment paper. I think Emma might have been using an 8x8. I just didn't really know, so I'm just using my 9x9 and just try to do this the best you can. I think Emma did a better job, which I will show you guys later. But yeah, this is kind of what mine look like. Then add about 2 spoonfuls of the beaten egg whites to your egg yolk mixture and give it a good mix. Try not to be too rough with this. You still do want to be gentle. You don't want to completely deflate all those egg whites that you took your time to beat, but you can be a little bit rough, not manhandling it by any means. Just loosen up the batter so it's easier when you add the rest of the egg whites. This is a bit of a labor of love, so just take your time with it, get it as loose as possible. And once it is like pretty much all combined, then add the rest of your beaten egg whites to your mixture. Make sure you get every last drop out because this is what makes your batter or your cake fluffy, delicious, beautiful. So get every last drop out. Once you do that, go ahead and really gently start folding in the egg whites to the rest of the batter. Be gentle, try not to be rough. You're going to need to take your time. You're going to feel pain coming from your hand, but hey, it's all for a good cause. Once you guys bite into this cake, you'll see what I'm talking about. It is so delicious, so it's well worth the effort and the labor of love. Take your time, be gentle with it, and just keep folding in until it is all combined and luscious and beautiful, and it should smell really good. It's so pretty, light and fluffy, and it smells so good. It smells like bananas with no chunk, or minus the chunks. Then you'll want to add your batter to your prepared baking dish. As you can see, Emma's looks so much better, and I think hers is like even fluffier than mine. Mine is pretty stiff. So I just went ahead and made sure that it was pretty leveled. I didn't like bang it or anything like that. I gave it like a little shake. I was kind of too scared. Listen, I didn't want to deflate those egg whites, and I was just hoping that it was going to turn out. And then I put it in my preheated oven. So I baked mine for around 40 minutes. I think Emma baked hers for 25 minutes, but I think that's because there's a discrepancy between Europe, America, my oven, her oven. Anyways, just make sure it's baked, and you'll know that it is once you put a toothpick in a center and it comes out clean. So mine looks a little bit pale. Hers looks lovely and golden brown. I'm not sure what happened. Listen, guys, I am just not a professional baker. Let it cool for 5 minutes, and then I went ahead and peeled off my parchment paper. So I actually allowed mine to cool a little bit longer. I wish I only waited 5 minutes, but I didn't. And then I put it on this cooling rack and I peeled the rest of the parchment paper. The reason I wish I would have waited only 5 minutes instead of like 10-15 minutes like I did was because it gets harder to scrape off the caramelized bits of it, like this part, this caramelized sugar or the caramelization, whatever it's called. So I was kind of scraping it with the knife. I didn't do that of a good job. Emma, of course, did way better than I did. So I was just scraping it with the knife, and I didn't want to overdo it because I still wanted to have a little bit of cake left. So I just scraped it as best as I could with a knife, trying to get most of those bits off. And then I went ahead and just brushed it with like a baking brush, pastry brush, cooking brush, whatever you want to call it. I just wanted to get all the crumbs off because I didn't want the custard to have like crumbs in it. Like that wouldn't have looked really pretty. I'm trying to make this cake look pretty, guys, and I feel like I already failed. So obviously I'm not a baker, but once I was done brushing my cake, I went ahead and allowed it to fully cool on this cooling rack. I also allowed my custard to be fully cooled, and once everything was fully cooled, make sure everything is completely cooled off. You don't want to be working with any of these items warm. I pulled my custard out of the refrigerator, and then I used a hand mixer and gave this mix a really good mix. Now, I wasn't sure how far I should take it, and then I thought I was done. I used a spatula to kind of like see if I was done, like by trying to see if it was spreadable, and I realized I wasn't, so I just went back and referred to the video and realized I made a few mistakes. So make sure you are referring back to the video just to make sure everything is like going right and you're doing everything right. So I went ahead, referred back to the video, gave this mixture like another mix just so it was movable, pliable. It kind of reminds me of like slime, I guess, but it's delicious, and you do want to make sure you beat this mixture.
Hey babe, what are you doing there?
Oh, I'm just checking my phone to watch Emma's video just so I don't completely mess this cake up.
How's it looking?
Looks okay. Made a few mistakes along the way, but I'm not a baker, so hopefully it comes out. So the custard should look something like this. It should be like spreadable and extremely loose. I moved my cake onto a clean parchment paper, and then I went ahead and added every last drop of custard onto my cake. Make sure you get every last drop because it is extremely delicious and worth every bite. And then I went ahead and used a rubber spatula to spread it onto the top. You can leave it like this and just like cut off the edges, but I wanted my cake to look exactly like Emma's. I mean, as much as I could. Obviously, there's no comparison because she's like way better at this stuff than I am. So Emma has her cake leveled perfectly on top. I'm gonna be using a bench scraper. I'll try to attempt my best. Hopefully it comes out somewhat leveled on top. Like hers is perfect. So I went ahead and did a few passes with this bench scraper, whatever it's called, I forget. And let me tell you, I'm not even gonna include all the outtakes that I did just because this step is extremely tedious. This is actually a lot harder than it looks. Emma makes it look super easy. I cannot get this. I'm not too worried about the edges because I am going to cut them off just like Emma did, but this is hard. So I went ahead and did a few more passes trying to get this as level as I could. By a few, I mean probably like, I don't even know how many. I just kept trying and trying. Every time I thought I was like on the road to success, I'm like, why me? Why am I failing at this? I mean, of course, I'm not like a professional baker and I've never done this before. But Emma does this to like almost all her cakes. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. And I just love the way they look. They really stand out to all the other cakes like that I've seen, like the designs and stuff like that. They're pretty simple looking, but they look so elegant, and I love the way she cuts them. So I think she does like a really good job. I'm thinking my custard might have been too soft from all the beating that I gave it, but once I was kind of like pleased with my results, I just went ahead and refrigerated this mixture for like 30 minutes just so I could cut it like Emma did. So I'm going to just leave it at this. Alright, I'm done. I'm not going to touch it anymore. I'm going to put it in the fridge for 30 minutes so I could cut it and eat it. So excited. Didn't do it perfectly on top, but I'm just not professional. Sorry, Emma. After 30 minutes, your custard should have had enough time to harden again, so I'm just going to cut my edges like Emma. I started out with the serrated knife, but I didn't like the way it was like cutting the edges, so I'm just using a different knife to cut the edges, which went a lot smoother. And then I went ahead and transferred my cake onto another piece of parchment paper. I cut my cake into threes like Emma did, snapped a quick picture like Emma did, and then I cut it into squares again. You could cut it however you like. I just wanted my cake to look exactly like Emma's. This little square may look simple to you, but believe it or not, it's pretty sophisticated. There's custard on top, vanilla custard by the way, which is awesome. Pretty excited to dive into it, and I'm gonna give it a go. Oh my goodness. It's so soft. It's pillowy. It's not overly sweet. It has a hint of banana. It's so good. You guys gotta try this and eat it all. So here I am getting an up close of a bite of cake, and then I went in for seconds, thirds, until I ate the whole square. And this cake is just really good. Like, you're going to want to eat this with your loved ones. And I just can't wait to remake this cake. Like, I am looking forward for someone to come over and giving me an excuse to make this cake again because it is so good. It's way better than like banana bread by far. I think you guys would love this too. So thank you, Emma, for recommending this video or making this video for us so we can enjoy this deliciousness. I gotta say that this cake was so good. I was not expecting the texture that it had. But anyways, this cake was pretty awesome. Babe, did you like the cake?
It was pretty awesome, I gotta admit.
Was it the best custard cake you've ever had?
Well, considering that I don't really even like custard or custard pies or whatever, yeah, it was pretty darn good.
You're not into custard?
Only tubby custard.
What is that? I don't know what that is. Seriously, what is that?
Teletubbies.
What is that?
You don't know what Teletubbies are?
No? So tubby custard?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Ew, those things, those babies with, ew, what in the world? I've seen those. They look creepy. Oh, I got a commercial. Hold on a second, guys.
No Wi-Fi at your in-laws' house?
No Wi-Fi at my house. Okay. Oh, that's cute. It is. Am I gonna get in trouble for like the noise? Probably. You don't think so? You see it? I'm not watching it. You guys are watching it. What is? I've never watched this in my life. I like they're making tubby custard. Sounds fun. Okay, I've seen these creepy little king babies, if you could even call them that. I almost thought you were talking about the Care Bears. Like, these things are creepy looking and they're making funny noises. But no, I never watched them.
Okay, you gotta stop watching that now because that's gonna be a little weird.
You guys hear this noise?
You're like thoroughly enjoying this.
Oh my god, I can't believe you watched this. So if you like custard and you like bananas, I would highly suggest this cake. It is so good. It's light and fluffy and it's not overly sweet. I hate when you go and buy like store-bought stuff and it's like overly sweet, or like all you can taste is like the dyes and the food coloring and all that stuff. This cake is like so good. I could see myself like eating this in Rome or even in like England, having like tea time, you know, like where they serve all those little cakes and drink tea. That's what I could see myself doing. And I just hit myself in the face. I gotta be quiet. It's just way too late. I gotta go to sleep, guys. And make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Check out my other videos over here for more deliciousness, and check out Emma because she just really knows her cakes. Like, this girl, she's a baker. She knows what she's doing. Check her out and make sure you're subscribed. Until next time, I'll see you later. Have a good night or good morning or wherever you are. Just have a good day. All right, bye.